Hello and welcome to the program. I am Deji Badimasi and I want to thank you for joining us and you're watching Politics Today. Let's just start by telling you that tonight we'll be focusing on a number of issues, and one of the biggest issues we'll be looking at tonight is the Bakassi issue. Remember that peninsula, well, is it in Cross River State now or in Cameroon? It used to be in Cross River State anyway. Now, the peninsula was ceded to Cameroon sometime in 2002, and by October this year, it will be 10 years since the ICJ judgment that ceded that peninsula to Cameroon. Nigeria, do not forget, has already ratified or accepted the judgment of the International Court of Justice, and besides that, Nigeria has also ratified the 2006 Green Tree Agreement, a kind of special arrangement now by which the people, the original inhabitants of Bakassi now could live under the territory and the laws of Cameroon, so to speak. So 10 years after, or close to 10 years after, I should say, the issue of Bakassi is still reverberating. As a matter of fact, just recently you heard that story about well, one of the leaders of Bakassi actually declared independence for the place. And, that sort of brought up this whole issue now to the front burner. And that's one of the reasons we're discussing it. And the issue of the Declaration of Independence now is generating a lot of reaction. The Nigerian Bar Association has been reacting over this issue. I want you to take a listen now to what the outgoing president of the Nigerian Bar Association said about the Declaration of Independence by the Bakassi people recently. Not just in Bakassi, by the way. Do not also forget that not quite long ago, the movement for the survival of the Ogoni people, the leader of that group actually declared self-determination or autonomy, that's what they called it actually, for the people of Ogoni. And you also had that, should we call it the story that came from Bayelsa, where the state government or the State House of Assembly actually passed a law now creating the state's anthem, the state's flag, and the coat of arms. All of this has been generating some kind of reaction. Now, let us take a listen to what the NBA president said recently about all of this.
Unconstitutional for any section of this country to seek to break away or to take up acts that suggests that it wants to be independent of the country. It is unconstitutional, and it will not be encouraged. It should be denounced, and government should take steps to nip such efforts in. There is no constitutional provision that allows for a flag other than the Nigerian flag or an anthem other than the national anthem. If you have a jingle extolling the virtues of your state, I do not consider it an anthem, saying the state is independent and operates on its own. So those ones we are referring to are jingles extolling the cultural values of that state, and that is permissible. And if a state decides to have an anagram, or what do they call it, to say this promotes what we do, if it's farming that we do in this state, associate us with farming, they are doing it within the ambit of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Well, that's the outgoing president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Daudu, speaking recently now over that Declaration of Independence by, a leader in Bakassi actually, and we understand the people of Bakassi actually, but we're going to find out later on. But let me just say this, that human rights lawyer Mr. Femi Falana has also been reacting to this issue and has taken on the leadership of the NBA, has actually criticizing the NBA over its comments, saying the NBA is completely wrong. Take a listen to him.
In the Nigerian Constitution, and I challenge my colleagues, there's no provision that has outlawed an anthem or a flag or coat of arms by a state. There is no such thing. No such thing. But what is more, under Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, a treaty that has been ratified by Nigeria and domesticated. All the African people, all the peoples of Africa shall have unquestionable and inalienable right to self-determination. That is the language of the law. Furthermore, they shall have the right to determine their political status and determine how to protect their economic interest. That provision of the law is binding on Nigeria. Therefore, instead of reading treason or sabotage to what the people of Bakassi have done, Nigeria should move in very speedily to address the frustrations of the people with respect to the Ogoni people. And I'm totally flabbergasted the Nigerian Bar Association that has kept silent over the recommendation of the United Nations panel that $1 billion should be paid to address the crisis of environmental degradation of Ogoni land. It is in that report that the water being taken by the people in that community contains benzene, which is cancerous, and that the entire people should be subjected to medical treatment, medical examination and treatment.
Well, Mr. Femi Falanda, they're reacting to the issue of Bakassi, Ogoni, and some other places now where, you know, you have issues about self-determination. I'm now being joined on the program by the political leader of Bakassi, Senator Florence Itagiwa. She used to serve in the Senate, and she also used to be the presidential advisor on National Assembly matters, and of course she comes from Bakassi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Also joining us on the program tonight is Mr. Ken Okulugbo, a political analyst, and what we're trying to do now is to dissect the Bakassi issue, so to speak. Madam, let me start with you.
Yeah.
That declaration of independence, you are a political leader in Bakassi.
Yes.
Were you consulted? Was it the decision of the Bakassi people that they want self-government?
I think under the present circumstance, you know, all sorts of things happen. I'm not the type of leader that would worry about, you know, different groups springing up, you know, under the circumstance. I wasn't consulted. I don't even know who they are. But I do know that at the time of the judgment, you know, after the judgment, which even at that time we were thinking that, I mean, this is going to be an exercise in futility. You understand that judgment would actually not be carried out. So I did put together a group known as...
I know you were serving in government at the time.
No, I was actually, at the time of the judgment, I was towards the end of the Senate, you know.